course, it's me, the Trap God. Who else could it be? Cameras everywhere you go. Satellite wherever you go. You can't run. You can't hide. White America, the hand of white supremacy, the eyes of white supremacy knows everything. Are you trying to get away with something? Is there something that's on your mind that you have developed that you think nobody knows about? I don't think so. I'm making progress. I never thought I'd make progress this fast once I learned how to use the correct methods. But here's the thing about it. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Let me give you a wrench, Honey M. How you doing? Add as a moderator. You're a moderator now. Welcome. Welcome. Henry M. Right? I don't know why that writing is so small. But yeah, we got a lot of issues that's coming with life, period. I know that I'm constantly under attack for the words that I say, the communication that I give. I got people who are above me that communicate. Look at this white Jeep with the tinted windows. It follows me. He's turning in over there. He was just over here getting gas. That white Jeep over there in that parking lot with the tinted windows follows me everywhere I go. Absolutely everywhere I go. That's my stalker. If that's not my stalker, then maybe I'm suffering from paranoia. What are we all not suffering from? Something, right? But if I'm occupied, I'm in a country that doesn't love me. I'm in a world that sees us as African Americans as nothing but peasants, and they could stomp all over us. Wouldn't you be traumatized? Awesome, thank you. I enjoy your food shorts. I appreciate that. I think it's more of my voice than anything because these foods have been seen by everybody everywhere. But I thank you. It would be nice if somebody cash app me to let me know, first of all, that my cash app works for my content that I put out as a content creator and just as a source of entertainment. I don't care if it's $1. I just want to see if it works. $ IAMYOURGOD2 is my cash app. However, I'm not here trying to seek funds, which everybody else is. What I am stating is that where are the people that matter? The marketing teams, the ones that don't know me but want to get to know me. You find everything else. You mean to tell me you can't find this little black nigga that's in Texas that's sitting down here in the trap that needs some opportunity to rise up on these streets out of these slums and this bullshit ass craziness I'm going through? You can't bless me, but you can bless Dame Drops, Blue Blood TV. Every time I come on here, everybody and their mama want to call me or come on here and do something, but when I ain't on here, nobody's fucking with me. It's always that way. The devil is always busy. But yeah, we in the trenches of life. Salute, brother. What's up, Eric? I'm out here in the trap, man. Every single day, hustling, grinding, going to get it, making things happen. I'm getting blessed. I'm already in. And where I'm supposed to be, in the situation, and where I'm supposed to be before I don't even need to be here, because I'm in the trap streets. And all I want to do is be on task. I'm not going to waste my time and energy doing something I'm not supposed to. So when the slave master's puppets run up on me and try to fuck with me, I'm legit. But they'll still try to find a way to push your buttons and make it more than what it is. Why do we have to live a life like this? My day off. Today I'm drinking Coke 45. Yeah, I don't drink no more. Go for it. I know what it's like to go to the store early in the morning or in the evening or at night and get your favorite drink and pop that bitch open and suck the first one down and you beginning. And then get you another one up in you. That's 2, that's 24. And then by the time you're on the 32, ooh, shit, that motherfucker is kicked in. You know what I'm talking about. That what you call that buzz is kicked in. And then you like, I'm in the trap streets for life. Then your alter ego shows up. You either a happy drunk or you a hell-raising drunk. Like the Karens and the Kens out here talking about, yeah! Let's get this motherfucking party started, nigga! You know how they do. I'm quitting soon. Oh, yeah, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. Life goes in phases. You do what you gotta do to make yourself happy. The reason why I stopped drinking is because of affordability, lack of motivation, and responsibility started hitting me head on. I started seeing like, oh shit, I can afford this. Now that even though I've got my shit somewhat together, I can afford it, but do I want to acquire in my tool belt every day the sloppiness of being incoherent? People already think that I'm incoherent because of all of there's only 24 hours in a day. I utilize my time and effort to be greater and better than I ever can be under the circumstances. What you saying? Facts. It's getting expensive. Yeah, everything around you costs more than it should. You know? So while white-hand supremacy is rising up and in white flight and running towards believing that their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on earth is Donald J. Trump, and they throwing a Hail Mary on the other side, we talking politics, that your boy Biden can hang in there another 4 years talking coherently or abstract, and they can just prop him up to say anything. They hoping he's the savior to get us all out this bullshit. The hangovers are terrible. Yes, they are. Now, I want to move on. I've already acknowledged that you drink and you got your Coke 45. At some point, I might do some freestyles and entertain you. But I want to talk some adult shit before I go to that. to let you all know I've done my homework this morning. I'm cognizant about what's going on in society. But the main thing I tap myself into first, I already prayed to God that He give me open atonement and the vessel of knowledge to reign supreme so I can be in my fullest intellectual development to push communication across to you all. Go ahead and cook. Thanks, bro. So where we at with is that I want to speak about some things about this happening over in Kenya, building relationships with America. I have a brother named the Black True. He's got some philosophical points or some points of reason to help back me up when I give this communication to you. See, I ain't no black-ass Negro dummy like the white folks expect of me. I do pay attention. I've already looked at the news outlets, listened to them, and YouTube knows all the surfing that I do. I'm not sitting here looking for trouble. Trouble comes to me. I mind my own fucking business. But these so-called cowboys and Karens and Kens come fucking with me. They do their job as being lifelong stalkers of people who are intellectual and who are in the know. That's what they do. So I'm not going to hold y'all, but I'm going to give y'all a little resource. It's only 15 minutes. But relationship building is important. Now you got to realize the military, the Ethiopian military is being brought over into Haiti. I believe it's the Ethiopian military. If not, maybe it's the Kenya. I don't know. It's some African country being brought over into Haiti to straighten out their civil unrest. But this topic is talking about Kenya, the president's throwing out all the bells and whistles and come sit and be amongst white society. See, one thing I do know about black people, every time you want to sit at a white person's table and smell that mayonnaise and sit amongst them and think it's all good, when they ain't going to use you for nothing but a fucking puppet, that you want to bring your best to best, even if you got to lighten your skin and turn your hair blonde. You want to sit there and be in denial and throw your people up under the fucking bus. You is a crazy son of a bitch as I ever known. Because they don't love you. When they've done with their tools, they break their tools. You will be nothing if you're the chosen one, the one they want to groom. You will be nothing but a gatekeeper at their front door. Peekaboo, all of y'all sit y'all black asses down because you can't come in here no matter if you wipe your feet or not. You can do all of the things that you want to like take your body or well, your values, your morals, and your beliefs. You just wasting your time. Me. No, you. We seen you from when you was young. We want you. We got you. We monitoring you. We've been watching you every day, recruiting you. Come on. Bring your black ass in here and let's do an investigation, see how sharp you are. Are you a good boy? Can you sit? Can you stand? Can you snitch? Can you tolerate? When it's time to speak, are you able to stay on task and stay focused? Can you grab the talking points when we need you to? Are you able to adapt to change? Can you be user-friendly and be called at any time when we need you? Can you turn your back on your own people? Well, come on. And when you make mistakes, are you able to kiss the hand and bow down and take the sacrifice of what the Illuminati is asking for for to help you realize you don't talk about the small hats. You don't talk about your plight where you want reparations. Hell no. We ain't giving you shit. Matter of fact, we tearing every black community down and every black person we can down. We walking around here trampling everybody. We utilizing immigrants and anybody else who's on code and making and conditioning all of the white nationalists to get on board too, to pay attention. We either gonna get your flesh to pay attention and obey, or we just gonna eliminate your asses with AI. Artificial intelligence, electric cars, and we gonna go to the moon and watch you motherfuckers down here fight for the crumbs of life. Fight over the crumbs for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and so-called, in quotes, freedom. I'm the Trap God, the capital KOD Testimonies. I can spin little bars for you just for entertainment purposes. But believe me, they done circled the wagon. They know where I'm at. They're like, that motherfucker move around everywhere you go. They bring the big boys out. You heard me, Woody? But I'm going to give you a little lecture from a person I consider to be... First of all, let me see if y'all commenting, because it froze up on me. What happened to your windshield? Oh, that is a piece of plywood. Actually, the crack itself came from a rock off the interstate, a brick. However, a piece of plywood came flying at my fucking window, and it didn't go diagonally, because if it would, I would be dead. But it landed on my front of my vehicle, smacked like I thought it was a piece of cardboard. But it was actual plywood that somebody picked up from maybe Home Depot that was in the back of a truck, smacked the shit out of my vehicle and damaged my hood and flew up off of there. Only God, who is invested in my spirit, and my soul, and my mind, kept me alive, because I was ready for transition. I had both hands on the wheel. I saw it coming, and I just embraced for impact. And I said, oh my motherfucking goodness, I am still alive. I had a truck on one side of me and the medium on the other side of me. And I thought I was dead. But God had other plans. And that's why I'm still here. I mean, I could not believe it. You know how many situations I've been in on the road? See, y'all changing my train of thought. Because you refuse to listen, and I'm falling into that trap. But as I become a better content creator and a better, let's see, what am I considered to be? Content creator. I have to learn how to have power of control of that, because I do want to share and answer your questions. But yeah, that's what happened. And many different situations happen. I don't want to ramble, but I want y'all to be interactive, and I don't want to scare y'all away either. So come on with more questions, or just, what happened? Yeah, that's what happened. So it cracked and it's moving. It was just a little crack, now it's getting bigger. I got the funds. I'm like anybody else. When these cracks happen, you're like, I'm going to get it fixed. I'm going to get it fixed. I'm going to get it fixed. And I don't. I need to call the people to come fix this. I could do it right now. Safe Flight. I could call them right now and get them to come put a brand new. But I also have a recall on this windshield because there was leakage inside this Mercedes Benz. This Mercedes has a recall which is on my insurance policy that states I need to take it back to the shop and have them reseal this because it has a leakage. When it rains, water drips little by little in here in all of them. It's like a seal. The black seal that's around the window wasn't properly done. So it's for free. I don't know if that could be taken in consideration or not. But I have let me get some air in here. But I have a YouTube content creator that's under black social media who wants to talk about the Kenyan president coming over here and meeting with the White House with Biden, and he spared no expenses to come over here in style with a jet and a comedian and 30 people to flash and shine while his people are suffering. I don't know if that's important for you all, so if you don't want to hear it, you might want to read every time you come on my platform what I'm speaking about, because I'm more than just rap. I'm more than just trap. And I was talking to a friend this morning about how I'm going to be able to do this moving forward. Because when I rap, that's entertaining. But when I'm lecturing or I'm talking about a certain subject, it kind of like pushes people away. What am I coming here for? This guy does food videos. This guy does freestyles. Now he's talking some pro-black shit. Now he's talking some boxing. Now he's talking some trucking. Now he's talking some van life. Well, I'm in a combination of all of those. Even my personal life, my trials and tribulations. I'm an open book, a content creator that wants to give it all to you. I even have another whole category of my real life that I want to share with you all. But I'm going to have to find a way to master how to stay focused and just be able to say, well, everybody's not going to stay around. But I want to reach 1,000 so I can become ad-scented. Nobody beats the biz, the vapors. You got the vapors. Remember Bismarcky? See, why y'all not commenting no more? So fuck it. Let's get to where I want to get to. Let's go back to where I was. Now, I'm gonna put on this lecture. It's only gonna last 15 minutes. And he's going to be speaking about the fleecing of America, which America owes black people, me, a descendant of slavery, reparations. But we're seeing how money is being utilized and spent and the relationship building and the reasoning why we as African Americans that live in America can't go over to tribalized and dysfunctional Africa itself. People say, why don't y'all go back to Africa? Africa don't want us. can't handle Africa's conflicts and confrontations. You feel me? So anyways, let's get on with it so I can move on to something else after this. Let's go.
Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the moment of truth.
President Ruto is being slammed, not because he's in the US, but because of how he chose to get there. He decided to fly in a luxury jet. He chartered a Boeing 737-700 business jet from an Emirati company, the Royal Jet Group. He hired it for about 200 million Kenyan shillings. That's $1.5 million US. Ruto pulled out all the stops. He brought along an entourage of more than 30 people, which includes a famous Kenyan comedian. Everyone traveled to the US in style on the Kenyan taxpayers' dime, and this, more than anything else, has triggered the backlash. In the long run, the trip should more than pay for itself. And all of this may be true. And it's exactly what Ruto is using as his defense. But that has not helped quell public anger. Why? Because of Ruto's policies. He's been tough on Kenyan taxpayers. He became president in 2022 and he has been increasing taxes ever since. Ruto has increased the tax rate on salaries. He has doubled the sales tax on fuel. He has introduced a housing levy, a hospital insurance levy, and a turnover tax on small businesses. If it moves, Ruto taxes it. All in the name of fiscal responsibility. Kenya has a mountain of national debt. It was worth over $51 billion as of last December. Ruto had pledged to fix this. That is why he keeps raising taxes. And obviously, this is not a popular move. It puts an added burden on Kenyan citizens who are already struggling with the cost of living crisis and the rising cost of essential food items. In this situation, imagine hearing that your president is flying around in an Emirati jet. The same president who's been raising your taxes, who's been preaching austerity. That same president is taking more than 30 people, including a comedian, to the US. And this is not the first time, apparently. A few months ago, Ruto was dubbed Kenya's flying president. He's been on more than 50 foreign trips since he took office in 2022, more than 3 every month on average.
Now, when looking at this picture, I had to wrestle with myself about what kind of caption it should have. Maybe we should call it Welcome to the Hardware Store, because there's more tools in this picture than you would find at Ace Hardware. By the way, does anyone want to lay bets on whether these guys got together to talk about a right of return for us? Because after all, you got the president of Kenya meeting with the Congressional Black Talkers. I'm sure that was on the agenda, right? Or maybe they were talking about the Africans opening up their country to Black Americans so that we can have mutually beneficial relationships. Get rid of any of these notorious barriers, the tariffs, visa restrictions, and such. Black Americans should be able to get into Africa at no charge whatsoever because we're the only people on the planet not looking to exploit the place. Do you think they were talking about that at all? Maybe someone spared a word or two to talk about the blatant disrespect that Africa's leaders and many of its people show toward Black Americans. Did anyone demand that the president of Kenya renounce that kind of talk? Of course not. The Congressional Black Talkers are nothing more than a pathetic social club, a putrid DC-based cocktail party for wannabe upwardly mobile Negroes, most of whom are immigrants. I gave a rundown on them in a video posted on this very channel. One of these immigrants is Representative Horsford, who Ruto mentions by name in his Twitter tweet. So you got this guy coming over here from Kenya. He's been taxing the country basically into oblivion. But he's not doing without anything. After all, he's got a style and profile for this CBC. You got one gang of crooks talking to another. They deserve each other. And speaking of tweets, the guy actually had the nerve to post, Kenya recognizes the special role that the Congressional Black Caucus continues to play in advancing social justice, human rights, and economic development across the globe. What the hell is that do-nothing gang of bootlicks done for human rights? Oh wait, there was the time they did that sit-in for LGBT persons after a mass shooting. They raised all kinds of hell in the House of Representatives for illegal aliens, but they haven't done anything at all for Black people. And by the way, their little do-nothing stunts that they pull for the white media, what exactly did that advance? What did it accomplish? Oh, it got them some headlines, but nothing else. Advancing social justice indeed. Unless you're talking about anything for Black people or anything substantive. Advancing human rights? What the hell human rights? What the hell is better in America now than it was in the 1960s on the front of human rights? Economic development? Every single one of those Congressional Black Talkers' congressional districts are the poorest in America. What the hell have they done? He then doubles down on stupid when he posts, Kenya means business. We urge international businesses to capitalize on the 60-year-old Kenya-U.S. relationship that is grounded on shared values of democracy, freedom, and enterprise to invest in Kenya. Now look at how he phrases that. We want you guys to capitalize on the 60-year-old relationship between Kenya and the U.S. so you can invest in Kenya. And when he starts prattling on about shared values of democracy, the United States has never been a democracy for a single moment in its entire existence. But then again, neither has Kenya. That's the place where Barack Obama's father fled from, by the way. Kenya is a kleptocracy, full stop. And apparently under this guy's leadership, the confiscation of personal wealth from the people has hit an all-time high. It's thieving and robbing and more thieving, mostly by his government. This country, the United States, both its government and the private sector have systematically waged an economic war on black people to shut us out of any and all opportunities to engage in any sort of enterprise. He sounds like a fool, heaping all this praise on the Congressional Black Caucus and the United States. Though I do think Kenya and the U.S. do have shared values nonetheless, anti-FBA sentiments being among the first of them. There's no freedom for black Americans and not much better for Kenyans. An allegedly black president comes to the U.S. but doesn't say a syllable about how black Americans are being treated here. But then again, he's only too jolly in the behind to see if he can finesse himself some cash. Because we know this trip and the lies that he's told weren't about anything other than this Rudo character sweet-talking some white money from the government and certain private interests. That's why he said all this gibberish. We know what his phony praise means, though. He's going to open up the country's mineral deposits to the highest bidder, and as long as those private corporations and the U.S. foreign aid budget gives him a little bit of money for himself, then he'll allow the exploitation to continue as it's been doing for decades. But as we've seen in Niger, the reason that the U.S. gives that little old foreign aid money to these African countries is in order to manipulate them, to get them to play ball with U.S. policy, and to not allow, say, the Russians or the Chinese into their countries. It's the same game of global chess, and the money is how they checkmate their opponents. But the money that the U.S. gives is nothing compared to what they're going to be getting out of it. By the way, while we're on the subject of how much money this guy has blown in the form of his world tour and how much money that he's taking from his own citizens, has anyone bothered to ask what this President Ruto's net worth is, by the way? I'm just asking for a friend. From all accounts that I've found, he's independently wealthy and then some. But practically none of his wealth has made it to the people of Kenya, and his trips to the U.S. are only to benefit the government, which means the crook in chief himself. Keep in mind, this guy gave some sloppy kiss of a eulogy when the former autocrat of Kenya died. That guy was a corrupt bootlick named Mwai Kibaki. And if that name Kibaki sounds faintly familiar to you, it should. About 14 years ago, I made the video that basically changed the narrative about Robert Mugabe, a video called The Truth About Robert Mugabe. And in that video, I talked about how the accusations of brutality that the British leveled against Mugabe were either totally false or at the least nothing compared to what British-approved dictators like Mwai Kibaki did. Kibaki carried out heinous violence in order to force elections to go his way. And the British, they didn't mind at all, because he was playing ball with them. In terms of body counts and repressions, Mugabe was a choir boy compared to Mwai Kibaki, and yet most of you never even heard of his name, because he allowed the British to carry out their exploitation of Kenya without a peep. And then he handed the dagger over to this Ruto character, and it's just more of the same. Now, this guy is over here talking about a good return on investment is guaranteed, especially in our renewable energy, housing, manufacturing, agriculture, and ICT sectors. Does anyone see any part of Kenya that's growing? Anybody see any part of Kenya that's turned into an industrial powerhouse? Me neither. And that's largely because they're being ripped off 5 ways from Sunday. See, this is the problem when you have these policies of not allowing black people from outside of Africa to come in and help develop the place, because that's the same policy that they have for black people in Africa. And that's the reason why you got this do-nothing autocrat who's over here cheesing with the bootlick caucus and white power brokers. Because they've been so good for Africa, haven't they? An African leader coming to the United States, waxing poetic about shared values of democracy and freedom and human rights. He does this the exact same week that a coup attempt was made in the Congo, and at least 2 Americans have been arrested in connection with this attack. The Congolese authorities are saying that the leader of that coup, a guy named Christian Malanga, was himself a naturalized American citizen. Christian Malonga came to the U.S. as a so-called refugee, and as soon as he got here, he found the first white woman that he could and started having babies by her, and he decided to have one of his sons join him for this would-be national takeover. Malonga's son, Marcel Malonga, has been living in Utah before he decided to go back to Kenya with his daddy and try to take over the country. Christian Malonga was killed during the coup attempt, and as for his son, the Congolese authorities paraded him in front of the cameras while he was still wearing the outfit and even the assault rifle that he had been using during the failed coup attempt, complete with an American flag on him. The U.S. is, of course, denying all knowledge of these men and what they did, same way they did with the coup against Hugo Chavez in Venezuela. But Kenya's corrupt president didn't say a word about that. A fellow African nation, almost overthrown by United States citizens, and surely some of the U.S.'s alphabet agencies were behind this. But this African president doesn't say boo about it. See, in the Congo, the U.S. has to get some dirt bags to try to take over that country. But in Kenya, they got him elected to high office. So while the U.S. is actively trying to overthrow governments in Africa, you got this tool coming over here, yucking it up with his fellow sellouts and bootlicks, and telling the same white supremacists who are destabilizing Africa right now that he wants more of them to come over. He's rolling out the red carpet for them. And as for black Americans, crickets. Even for the bootlicks of the CBC, he wasn't inviting any of them over to become citizens of Africa either. No talk about how to build immediate partnerships between Africa and African Americans. Apparently, neither our skill nor our money is green enough for him. And this is why Africa's in the shape it's in. Liars and thieves are in charge, and many of them come over here. And for our soldiers from the diaspora, just understand, this is what your leaders do when they come to the U.S. Fraternize with the very enemies that oppress you. You know, even if this Ruto character and the rest of the Kenyan delegation were coming here strictly for their own benefit, I would be somewhat less disgusted if I saw these African misleaders come here, get money, and then use it to make their country's first world success stories. I really wouldn't be able to knock the hustle too much if the hustle was actually empowering the people of Kenya, but it's not. As it stands, it's the worst of both worlds. They come here begging for U.S. foreign aid and private investment, and then the people of Africa are left out, and what little development that does take place is just the same old colonialism and drag. It's very important that for all of the family from outside the U.S. who are watching this, understand it's not some victimless crime when these guys come over here and nobody says boo about it. And it's also not a victimless crime to say nothing when they come here and begin tampering with our internal politics. Ruto knows full well who is behind the coup attempt in the Congo, but he also knows that unless he wants to wind up like Lumumba, he might as well keep his mouth shut. And so he is. He's playing the game, but it's one that the African people always lose. The bootlicks and the CBC have to be shown the door. These people are not for black empowerment at all, and that's going to be the next step of what it is that the grassroots have to focus on. It's time to start taking some ground from the enemy and their minions. These sellouts and tools do not speak for us, and we are getting to the point now where we're just about getting a critical mass of black folks who are able to say it in a voice loud enough to be heard, one that cannot be ignored. And that's the next step here, to put everybody on notice. We're determined to clean house, and we're determined to have our black empowerment, and we're not going to let anyone stand in the way of that, no matter where they come from. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention
that right there is Congressional Black Caucus. All of the Democrats and countries that come over here flossing, again, for white supremacy in business, do nothing for their people. I only wanted to bring that up because that's one of the content creators on YouTube, which names Professor Black Truth. I listen to him in the morning. He gives the most current, accurate information about the plight of what's happening with African Americans, as well as reparations, that slow drip towards trying to see if we can get what's rightfully ours, which is like spitting in the wind. We're not going to get shit. We're going to get little bits at a time. It'll take years from now, if ever, that we all universally get our compensation for the true I forgot how you say it. But anyways, for the true wrongs that have been done, atrocities is the word I'm looking for, that are being hidden. So, I could go ahead and start rapping from here, but I don't think it would do me any good for those who are intellectual. I'm sorry, but I have to end this video, and I'm going to restart one right away. It's going to have nothing to do with politics. But if I start rapping right now, the only thing I could do is probably do one or two pro-black songs. But that's not the realm I'm really in. This is what I mean by me being able to find different ways to get my information across, because I get people from all walks of life who are finally realizing that you have a jewel in the Nile of life here in these streets of Texas, while you low-hanging fruit motherfuckers who hate me for no reason, I've never done nothing to you, come in here and criticize me and try to downplay me like that damn troll this morning while I'm driving over here. You can play with me all you want to, but you ain't gonna be able to play with God when I sit down and I meditate and tell God to take care of you. And that ain't no damn threat. That's a fucking promise. Because when I pray about it and it's done, you're done. And that's all I got to say. This is Trap God, Kod Testimonies, the Angry Black Alley Cat, and the True Spitter. Those are all my three alter egos, if you will. And I just utilize them as hobby. This is just a hobby. I'm not out here being a race baiter or extremist. I'm not throwing off my rocker. It's just I do what I want to fucking do. And I see all these people who are riding around here trying to play games with us like we don't exist and we don't matter. You are doing nothing but doing what your slave masters told you to do and what white nationalists believe that should be done, and the Rainbow Coalition and foreigners who believe that they are white, and all of these other entities that get down with the get down of white supremacy, who are living in a state of delusional and denial. So you use that communication that I just gave you for your quote-unquote regentrification, when you're being fucked over by the fleecing of America and the depression and what is it? You look around you and everything is going up in terms of rent. They buying up the entire world. And now they're giving you food for low prices. This is a trend now. So you don't steal and rob and tear up the place. So we'll at least feed you. But we don't want you to have the properties. We want you to rent until you can't rent no more. And then we want you to be homeless. And then we want you to fight amongst each other. And then we want you to live in the streets while they own all the property and go to the moon. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. You'll see. You'll see. And you'll be like, damn, that little black motherfucker over there in Fort Worth, Texas was right. And a lot of people are broke and they ain't telling you. A lot of people don't have shit and they won't let you know. But it'll get across to you sooner than later. It's a trap, guys. I'll holler at y'all. Peace. Where's our reparations?